everyone, I Subham Jain welcome you all at CLJ channel. Today we are releasing first episode of the CLJ Talk Show. CLJ Talk Show is started with vision to motivate, to inspire and to promote interactive learning among students and young corporate professionals. Today we have with us Mr. Abhishek Sinha, who is a founder at NotJustLex and ex-partner with Khaitan Co and Shardul Amarchand Mangaldas. Abhishek is a dual qualified corporate lawyer and has a PQE of more than 14 years. Abhishek also worked as international visiting attorney at Morrison Foster Tokyo and has been leading transactions involving corporate and commercial laws. Abhishek has a wide range of experience in advising private equity matters as well as a structure requiring India entry strategies. Abhishek has been involved in various acquisition matters, domestic and cross borders, also contract negotiations, and regularly advised clients on investment strategies, joint ventures, strategic alliance, regulatory compliance, exit options, and general corporate matters. So, with this brief introduction, Abhishek, I welcome you for today's shows. And Abhishek, I have certain questions on behalf of CLJ channel viewers. So, thank you so much for this talk.
Thanks Shubham. Thanks for reaching out to me. Even before you start asking me questions, I must congratulate you, the Corporate Law Journal as a platform and the entire team behind Corporate Law Journal. I've been following you guys regularly, and I must say you are doing a fabulous job when it comes to corporate literacy. I love the videos which you post. I feel that this platform is not only for just the legal professionals. Any profession which has any flavor of law like CA, CS, even management students will definitely benefit from this program. And I wish you all the best. Happy to answer any questions which you may have. Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Abhishek. So Abhishek, my first question on behalf of CLJ viewers is, how do you generally interact with law students and particularly to those students who are planning to enter the corporate world?
So that's a very interesting question, Shubham. That how do I really interact with law students? Interaction has never been an issue with me. I've always been open to interacting with law students. Always ready to help them. But these days, majority of the interactions, they have moved online. All the social media platforms which are available today, and especially LinkedIn. I try and respond to most of the questions and emails which I receive. Of course, I'm not 24/7 available on these online platforms, but I definitely try and respond to each and every message which I get. But I must say that there's a huge shift which I have seen in these interactions when I used to interact with law students, let's say 5, 7, 10 years back. Earlier, the students were more focused on learning. So most of the interactions were in relation to some sort of help or guidance in doing LLM, in doing how to write an article, how to write the CV, how to approach a specific interview, or general moot courts, research paper, more focused on learning. Now the interactions are more focused towards mere tangible benefits. Can you help me in getting an internship? Here's my CV. Can I work with you? Can you please refer me to another law firm where I want to work as an associate? It's more on tangible benefits. And these days, because of so many online platforms providing so many online courses, everyone is just focused on the tangible benefit of getting certificates. So I feel, if I look at law student as one segment, the focus has really changed from real learning to absolute and merely tangible benefits. I won't generalize it. Still, there are students who are more focused towards learning, but majority of them are more focused on getting some sort of a tangible benefits. As I say, learning is a two-way process. Whenever I interact with the law students, I learn a lot, and I hope that in those interactions they also learn a few things from me. So the only thing which I would like to say that to the law students, that don't just look at the tangible benefits. Learning is very important. Of course, getting an internship, getting a job is the ultimate aim. It's your goal, but don't make that goal supersede the learning. Learning has to be first, and then your goal of either getting an internship or getting a job. Because even if you get a job or an internship, if the learning is hollow, if your basics are not strong, you know you're not going to stand in that position for a long time. So make your basics very strong. As someone said, that learning will never exhaust your mind, but if you're merely looking at a tangible benefit, and if you don't get it, it will definitely exhaust your mind. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. Secondly, your question is that how do I interact with law students who are more focused on entering the corporate field? There are only two things I'll tell them. One, as I've already articulated, that the basics of law, needs to be absolutely strong, and 90% of your basics, comes out of the law of contracts. You have to master it. There's no other way. All other laws you will be able to appreciate only and only if you have mastered the laws of contract. There's nothing wrong in reading and learning the fancier SEBI laws, FDI laws, all these fancy press notes. Of course, you need to be aware of it. But if you have to select that, which one is the priority, your laws of contract always has to be the top priority. And the second thing, one is the law of contracts, which I call the mother of all laws. And the second thing is to keep yourself updated what's happening. These days, if you want to be in the corporate field, if you want to be a corporate lawyer, knowing the law or knowing where to find the law is not good enough. Our clients' expectations have changed over the years. Knowing the law is only 40%. In fact, if you look at tier 1 law firms, freshers joining these tier 1 law firms, all of these freshers, all of these junior associates know their law. How do you make sure that you have that competitive edge? So knowing the law is the baseline. Everyone knows the law today. So therefore you have to exceed that and go beyond that baseline, and that can only come through commercial awareness. So you have to be commercially savvy, and to be commercially savvy, one is that you need to know what's happening in the corporate world. But you need to be absolutely updated what's happening in top businesses, which private equity investor is investing in which company, how they are exiting, what's the mode, which company is going for an IPO, and all other business news. Not just the news, you also need to look and analyze these investment which are happening, structures which are being used. And I'll tell you, the amount of information, the amount of learning you will get by simply reading these articles, doing a little bit of more research, going back to the basics, looking at the law, relating it, connecting the dots, and asking the relevant questions to your seniors, reaching out to any other person who may know the answer, and completing that loop. That learning will remain with you for a long time. So that's the kind of interactions I generally have with the law students, and that has always been my advice to all the law students. But rest is all dependent on them, how they want to take it, how they want to approach it, whether they want to still stick with the only tangible benefit, or they want to have a blend of learning as well as some sort of a tangible benefit. But yeah, Shubham, next question please.
Yes, Abhishek, absolutely agree with you that there is no substitute of dedication towards learning, and even that's the foundation of any field. So, Abhishek, my next question is, May you please explain your journey with law firms and how do you articulate the initial years challenges faced by you?
Well, Shubham, you're taking me back in time. The initial years, I'll say it was very, very difficult for me. Not just difficult, it's not that, I was not a good student at college. I was one of the toppers of my batch, in fact, the entire university. So in my head, I was like, I know everything, I'll be one of the best associates at DSK. But you see, during our times, the real flavor of working as a lawyer in a law firm, more in the corporate side, I never got that during my internships. I interned in law firms, I interned in banks in Bombay, but that real flavor, in 2006, in fact from 2001 to 2006, I never got that. Also, the curriculum was such, there were very few diploma courses available. Even those diploma courses were more of theoretical in nature, and that's it. That's the kind of learning we used to have in colleges and the so-called diploma courses. Being commercially savvy, apart from reading Economic Times, there was nothing else. I had absolutely, to be very honest, I had absolutely no idea about the FDI, the FEMA regs, the press notes, absolutely no idea. In fact, I had never seen, a real copy of the Articles of Association of a company. So the very first assignment which I was given in DSK, I joined. First day was absolutely free. Second day, I was given an assignment. I was given a shareholders agreement. I was given a copy of the Articles of Association. I was told that I have a day and I need to incorporate the provisions of the shareholders agreement into the Articles of Association. And I was absolutely blank. I had never seen a copy of a shareholders agreement. Apart from hearing the term, I had no idea what all things are included in a shareholders agreement. I had absolutely zero idea about Articles of Association, apart from the fact that at that point of time there used to be a table A in the 1956 Companies Act, and that table A contains an Articles of Association, and Articles of Association deals with the management and affairs of the company, and it's something which is binding on the company and shareholders. That's what I've written in all my examinations. So apart from this, I was not aware of anything. So it was very, very difficult, in those days. Second, so one is that if you are not aware of the expectation of your employer, of your client, you're going to have a hard time. And that expectation these days, have gone beyond, what you can think of. Apart from knowing law, as I said, apart from knowing law, apart from being commercially savvy, apart from appreciating the commercials involved, that kind of dedication, the kind of 24/7 availability which is required is daunting. I must say is daunting, and if you really want to be in a law firm, in the corporate team, if you really want to succeed, these are the things you have to be very mindful of. So yes, when I was an associate, these were the things I learned the hard way, by regularly working on these matters. But there was no help, in the sense that there was no external help. Of course, there were very good seniors who helped me, very good mentors, right from the first law firm to Khaitan, Sam, wherever I worked, very good mentors. But these days it has become simpler. If you look at a law student today, the kind of exposure which they get, is brilliant. It's just about these law students actually utilizing these resources optimally. That's what is required. Resources are available, people are ready to help, It's just about the law students being eager to learn. The situation when I graduated, when I became an associate versus now, it's not comparable at all. What is comparable and what remains true today also is only the learning part. So if you are a keen learner, if you are a real keen learner, why do I say so? Because there are certain law students, there are certain people who will project themselves to be a keen learner, but in reality they are not, they aren't. So you have to be a real keen learner, and if you are a real keen learner, um, there's no limit to learning. As I say, learning is a process, and in this profession you have to keep on learning. There's no other way. And by learning, the easiest way to learn is to read and write about it. As simple as that. If you want to learn something, read and read and read more about it, write and write and write more about it. It's the only way, and that's what my feeling is.
So before coming to the next question, I would like to introduce not just Lex to our viewers. Please have a look. So Abhishek, you have resigned your partnership with Khaitan Co, started NotJustLex, and enter into a different domain which more focused on imparting legal education instead of dealing with top corporate clients. So Abhishek, how will you explain to our viewers this paradigm shift?
Yes, Shubham, you're absolutely right. I've resigned from my partnership at Khaitan. I'm no longer a part of any law firm. So yes, I have shifted my domain from mainstream consultancy, getting more on the educational aspect, academic side of the legal practice or legal education, if you want to say. Uh, but I'm not completely away from the legal practice, because the focus of NotJustLex, and that's the LLP which I have formed, that's the organization which I have formed. The focus of NotJustLex is more on bridging the gap between the theoretical learning which the students get in law colleges or other diploma courses, and the practicality and the expectations of the employer, the client, whether it's be a law firm, whether it's a company, or whether a senior counsel with whom you are going to work. The expectation is absolutely different. The real world expectation is very, very different. As I've already articulated more on the uh, being commercially savvy, understanding the commercials, the softer skills, knowing the market, knowing the market practice, that's the kind of expectation which is there today. So of course, the kind of interactions I used to have earlier with clients focusing more on corporate side, investments, private equity, I won't say that it's completely gone, because I'm still working on a couple of matters independently, but the focus is more on helping the the young lawyers with PQE of less than 2 years, and the law students. So the interaction is more focused towards bridging this gap between academia and the legal industry. And yeah, that's it. And if you want to know more about NotJustLex, feel free to visit our website, or feel free to drop in a line to me, and I'll definitely respond.
Thank you, Abhishek, for answering in such a nice way. So, Abhishek, 80% of CLJ YouTube channel viewers are students and young corporate professionals. So, Abhishek, what is your quick advice to build next generation value-based corporate professionals?
So Shubham, when it comes to my advice to all the freshers who are starting their career in the corporate field, there are only three things. Of course, there are so many things, but there are only three things I'll tell them to focus on. One, of course, learning. I have stressed enough on learning while answering your earlier questions. So I'm not going to stress on it more, but I'll simply say that at the end of the day, your domain expertise is very, very important. So focus on it. Try and get your domain expertise as much as possible and as quickly as possible. Of course, it's a continuous learning process. The only thing is that in the initial couple of years, the learning curve is pretty steep. So please focus on learning a lot. And you already know for learning what you have to do: read and write, read and write. And of course, when you're working somewhere, you get to work on those matters as well. So an added advantage. The other two are more on the softer skills, not directly linked to your domain expertise, but it's very important if you're working in an organization, if you're working in a team setup, very important. One is that try and get involved in all the meaningful initiatives of the firm, or the company or any organization where you're working for. So meaningful initiatives, and by these initiatives I don't mean initiatives like team parties and social gatherings. Of course, if you like it, go ahead and do it, no problem at all. But meaningful initiatives like being a part of one of the research groups, being a part of one of the opinion related groups, being a part of the group which updates the clients on change in law, all these different kind of groups and initiatives, being a part of the group which helps in organizing client events. Absolutely go ahead and do that. Working in an organization, as I said, is not just about knowing the law. Of course, that is going to help, and getting your domain expertise at the top, commercial awareness, working on matters. But it's also important if you want to grow up the ladder. If you want to grow up, if you want to succeed in that organization, you have to start building your relationship with clients, your relationships within the firm, your visibility within the firm. So your visibility within the firm and visibility outside, trying to interact with the clients, trying to have being the face of the firm, that's very important. And there's no bar for a fresher to do that. So please try and inculcate those habits by being a part of these initiatives. Don't shy away from it. Don't be a person who will go to office, do the work, come back home. Absolutely no problem with that. You will get your salary credited every month. But the point is, will you succeed? Will you grow up the ladder fast? So that's something you have to be mindful of. Try and get that edge from the very beginning. As a fresher, start building on it. And the last point on the softer skill is that never ever indulge in office politics. Never ever indulge in pleasing business. Never ever indulge in gossiping. So if you don't indulge in these three things, you are always on the safer side. It will not distract you. Focus will always be on learning. If you feel someone's getting benefit out of doing some pleasing business, let it be. Don't focus on it. Don't get into that business. That's my personal advice. That's the worst thing which you can do working in an organization. So yeah, these are the things which I would suggest a fresher to focus on.
Thank you, Abhishek. And lastly, Abhishek, may you please give some suggestions to those students who are a bit confused of the right career option?
So, Shubham, it's one of the most difficult questions to answer. That what's the right career option, and how do you select the right career option? There's no a strict jacket formula that put in the required fields, input the required fields, and you will get the answer that this is the right career option for me. There's no litmus test to it, that you do the test and you see, oh, this is the right career option, and I must pursue this. One thing is that it's a matter of personal preference. Of course, without going into the personal preference, I will suggest a couple of ways in which you can see that, which may help you in deciding which is the right career option. The first aspect is your liking towards that practice area, or your liking towards that specific job. Few people are very much interested in doing or working with NGOs. Few people are interested in working for organizations which are involved in protecting human rights. A few people are have the aim of doing LLM right after college. A few have clarity that they want to work in a law firm, work as a corporate lawyer. A few people have complete clarity that they want to work in the contentious side of the practice. Whatever your liking is, that's the first thing. But liking changes. Your love for a subject, your love for a practice areas keeps on changing. In your very first year, you will say, I want to be a corporate commercial lawyer. Why? Because contracts, or the law of contracts is the only thing which you have learned in your first year. So it keeps on changing. By third year, you will say, everyone wants to be a corporate lawyer. Why? Because you are learning company law. Or, you want to be a constitutional lawyer. You want to, go and, argue in a high court or a Supreme Court. Why? Because you are learning constitutional law. So it's very difficult. It keeps on changing. So therefore, what I suggest that you have 5 years with you when you're working, when you are, studying law. The first 3 years are very important. So keep on exploring all the different options, all the different fields. Try and do as many internships as you can in different areas. You have got that flexibility in the first 3 years. So let's say you have done, internships in 5, 6 different areas of law, different aspects, NGO, company, law firm, litigation, arbitration, banking, corporate. It will give you some idea which is that specific area of law which interests you more. And if you don't have one specific area, it's perfectly fine because you have 2 more years. So first line of segregation has already been done. So out of 10-15 practice areas, whatever you have been able to distill 1 or 2. In the next 2 years, try and do more internships specifically on those 2 areas or 3 areas and see which one interests you. And at the end of 5th year, right before the end of 5th year, when you need to apply or when you are sitting for your placements, ask the question, is this something you would like to do? Not for your entire life, but let's say for the next 5-6 years. If the answer is yes, please go ahead and try and explore that option. That's the first, line of segregation. Once you have, entered the corporate field or entered the litigation field, whatever area you selected, give it at least 1.5, 2 years. Try and work on it. Try and learn. Because, in few months, you will not be able to appreciate or understand whether this is something you really like or you hate or you don't like working on it. So give it 2 years. Try and learn. Try and get that domain expertise. And then after 2 years, ask the same question. Is this something which you would like to do? And not just for 5-6 years, but your entire life. If the answer is yes, go back, focus more on your domain expertise, learn, be an asset to the firm, go ahead, you will definitely succeed. If the answer is no, don't get disheartened. It's the right time to jump, to shift, to change your practice area, and very well go ahead and do it without wasting a time, because once you cross that 3-4 years into profession, it's difficult to change the practice area. So therefore, right after 2 years, make that decision, change, and then try and get domain expertise in that new changed area. So these are the kind of things which you can use and try and see which area of law interests you more, and which practice area interests you more. But at the same point of time, I'll stress again, being confused is not an issue. It's fine if you're confused, but try and get some answer. Try and work towards it. Even if you're not getting an answer, try and work towards it. That's what I have to say.
Thank you so much, Abhishek, for this wonderful talk. I hope everyone liked this episode. Please let us know your feedback in the comment section so we can come up with new episode with another inspiring personality. Stay tuned, subscribe to the channel for more updates on corporate and commercial laws. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.